In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the new Weavezilla bracelet on the Monster Tail loom. So you will need about 130 rubber bands, and I've chosen rainbow colors for the outside bands and then white for the center. So you're going to start by placing the center bands on. They're going to go from the left-hand side and stretch over to the right. So I'll start on the bottom pin and stretch this across, and there's no need to twist. Then I'll go up to the center and put the next band on, and now at the top I'm just stretching straight across to the right hand side, and I want to push all of this down. And now I'm going to take my first color that I have for the outside, which is red, and that is going to stretch all the way across from the bottom pin up to the top pin. So the first thing I'm going to do is start on the bottom left pin. I'm going to pick up this rubber band on my hook and I'm going to stretch it across to the bottom right pin. And now I'm going to go to this pin above and I'm going to start on the right hand side, and this time I'm doing the opposite. I'm stretching that band over to the left. And now at the top I'm going to start on the left and stretch that over to the right. And now what I want to do is take the bottom rubber band on all three of those pins and pull it over the top. So I'll start on the bottom right here. I'm pulling this band over the top, and then I want that to go tight against there. It's going to make a slip knot. And now in the center I'll go to the left hand side, take this bottom band and pull it over the top, make that slip knot. And now on this upper band, I'm taking that bottom band on the right hand side, pulling it over and making the slip knot. And I want this slip knot to be nice and tight, so what I'm going to do is actually take my fingers and pull this off and actually pull even tighter on this, which is going to make it looser on the pin. So you just have to be careful as you're working with it that it's not going to come off. I'm just going to do that for all three of these because I want that nice and tight. And now I am going to place my next color, which is going to go straight across from the bottom pin to the top. And now what I want to do is change the positions of all of the white bands. So the one that's on the right is now going to cross over to the left. The one that's on the left is going to cross to the right. And then at the top here, the one on the right is going to cross over to the left and push this down. And now I'm going to go to my next color, which I have yellow. I'm going to stretch that from the bottom to the top. And now once again the whites are going to change positions. So on the bottom left it's going over to the right. In the center it's going from the right to the left. And on the top it's going from the left over to the right. And now I want to push that down. And so now I have 3 layers on that are stretching from the bottom to the top, and I want to remove that bottom layer. So I'm just going to take this bottom red rubber band and take that out and over the top and into the middle, and then I will do the same thing for the one on the top pin, grabbing that bottom red, pulling it over top and into the middle. I'm going to push all of this down, and now I'm going to switch to green. Again, it's going all the way from the bottom to the top, and now I need to switch the positions of the white bands. So I will just change all of these to the opposite side. And what's happening by doing this is it's going to be weaving these bands in and out. So it's going to make like a basket weave. And so now I have 3 bands on. Every time I add a layer now, from top to bottom, I have to take the bottom layer off. So this orange needs to come off. So I'm just going to grab that bottom band from the lower pin and the upper pin, and then push this down. And now I will switch to blue. And now the white bands are going to switch sides. So So I'm just going to move them to the opposite sides of where they were. And now the bottom layer needs to come off of the end pins. So I have the yellow band this time that's coming off. And push down. And now I will switch to purple. And now once again, the white is going to switch sides. So I am just going to continue on in this pattern, and eventually I will have to add more white bands to the center in order to extend those rows so I can make my bracelet long enough. But for right now, I'm just going to fast forward and continue on in this same pattern, putting a layer on from the bottom to the top, switching the position of the white bands, and then removing a bottom layer from the bottom and top pins. So at this point I have put 18 rubber bands stretching from the bottom to the top, and I feel like my center bands are getting kind of tight, so I want to add another set of white bands in the middle so I can extend the bracelet. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I did in the first step. I'm going to start on the left hand side and just stretch straight over to the right. I'm going to do that for all 3 rows. And now what I'm going to do is on the bottom here, my bottom white band is on the left, so I'm going to take this bottom band and pull it over the top and into the middle. And now I'm going to take the band from the right and move that over to the left. I want it to still be staying on this left hand side, and I'm going to take this bottom band of these 2 bands and pull it over the top. And now I'm going to pull this tight and make a slip knot. So you can see here's the slip knot, and I want it to be really small, so I'm going to pull that really tight because I want it to be almost invisible within the bracelet, and I'm going to put this back on. The problem is then this band is very loose, so I will show you, you'll have to hold it a little bit tighter when you're putting on the first couple layers. So now this bottom white band is on the right hand side for this next row in the center. So I'm going to take this band and pull it over the top and into the middle. Again, I want to take it from the left hand side and over to the right because I want this to stay on the right hand side where it originally was. Taking this bottom band, pulling it over the top, and now I'm going to take the one that's left on. I'm going to pull this really tight to make a slip knot. You can see it here. I want to make it nice and tight and small. I'm going to put this back on, and again it's going to be loose, which is about the hardest part of this bracelet, is keeping these bands tight as you're switching the center. And now on this upper pin I have the bottom white band is on the left, so I'm going to take that and pull it over the top and into the middle, and I want it to stay on the left, so I'm taking the one from the right, moving it over to the left, taking the bottom band, pulling it over the top. Again, I want this slip knot to be nice and tight, so I'm going to pull this so it's really small and place this back on. And so now I'm just going to continue on with my colors in the middle here, going from the bottom to the top. But as I said, these are really loose now. So what you want to do is, if you can, and it's a little bit difficult, is just try and keep these pulled a little bit tighter and maybe push them down against the sides with your fingers. And now I'm going to switch to red here. And now I want the whites to change to the opposite side. So the one on the bottom left is going to go over to the right. And see, I'm going to hold this with my thumb. And then the one in the middle is going to go from the right over to the left. And I'm going to hold that in place with my pointer finger. And the one from the top is going to go from the left to the right. And I'm just going to try and hold these down. And now I want this bottom band to come off of the top pin and the bottom pin. So I'm taking the blue band off each of those pins and push this down. And now I'm going to add the orange band. And then once again, I want the whites to switch sides. So the one on the bottom right is going over to the left. In the middle, it's going from the left to the right. And on the top, it's going from the right to the left. Again, for these first couple, you're going to have to really try and keep the white bands on the right sides with your fingers. I know it's a little bit difficult, but it's going to make the bracelet look nice and tight. So I want the bottom band to come off. So I have purple. And now I am going to put yellow on. Push this down, add the yellow. And now again, the whites are going to switch sides. And again, I'm pulling these pretty tight so it looks nice and neat in the middle. And now I want the bottom band to come off. And I'm going to push this down and add the green. And again, switch the whites. And so as this starts to fill up, it will make the white bands get tighter, and you won't have to worry about holding them so tightly. See, already it's starting to get fuller, and I don't have to worry about trying to keep them in place. And now I want that bottom orange band to come off. So now I'm just going to continue adding bands from the bottom to the top, switching the whites, taking the bottom off, and then when I feel that these white bands are getting really full again, and I feel like I need to add more, I'll just repeat that step that I just showed you, and I will just continue on until the bracelet is long enough to fit around my wrist. When you have your bracelet to the length that you'd like it and you're ready to take it off the loom, what you want to do is take the bottom rubber band from the two end pins, just pull it over the top, and so now you should have just one single band left on all of the pins. And now I am going to take the band in the center that's over on the left and just move it over to the right so they're all on the same side. And now I'm going to take the rubber band that's on the pin closest to me on the end and move it up to the next pin towards the right, and take this bottom band and pull it over the top. And now I'm going to take the band that's on the top and move that down to the right, put it right on top of that pin, and again I'm going to take this white band that's on the bottom and pull it over the top. And so I now just have one single band left on all three of these pins, so I'm going to just take my hook and get all three of these bands on. Now I can pull this off of the loom. And I'm going to take a clip. I have an S clip here. Just going to get all three of these bands hooked through the one side, and then I'll go on the other side here, and in the center I'm going to pick up this red band, try to get it right in the middle here, and I'm just going to hook this through the other side of the clip. And then here is the bracelet. So it has this cool weaved pattern in the middle. You can see all the white bands in the center, and then the rainbow bands go back and forth through the white. So I think it has a really cool look. This is actually one of my favorite ones. I'll show you another one that I made. So on this one I used red for the center bands, and then I alternated between the navy and the white for the other bands on the sides. And then on the opposite side it's the reverse, so it has the blue on the sides, then the white in the very center, and then on this side it has the white on the sides and the blue in the middle. So that is the Weavezilla. I hope that everyone enjoyed this tutorial and find this bracelet as cool as I do. You can leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!